Because this is the very first time that I'm seeing a compromised, systemic effort to rig an election in Nigeria. I mean, it was done pre the beavers, pre the card reader. But now, for the very first time, I am shocked. I am totally distressed that an institution will put its reputation at stake for the purpose of an election. Which is INEC. Which is INEC.
So you think that INEC was highly compromised there?
This is compromised by design, the election in Edo State.
Let's get a sense of this is the summary of what
this is the summary.
Lack of transparency, discrepancies in the voter
registration, incidents of overvoting, manipulation at the Ward Collation Center, and result viewing portal.
These are the layers of what your findings are.
These are the layers of what we saw.
Yeah. So let's go further. This is
our methodology.
Okay.
So we requested for freedom of information. INEC gave us certified true copies of EC8B, EC8C, EC8D, and the 40G. So we collected some of them from INEC, but we didn't get all. Again, this election was an election where a Sako West local government, 11 wards, was not delivered, and Ipomoka, 1 ward. So we have a total of 323 polling units that was not involved in this. We wrote to the 3 political parties and said, do you have this? PDP said they don't. Labour said they don't. We didn't get a response from APC, but none of the parties had these 343 polling units that were missing.
All right, for the sake of our viewers that are watching tonight, the forms here that we're talking about are the forms statutorily provided under the law and the rules and regulation guiding the operations of INEC. The EC8 forms, EC8A,
EC8B are the polling units, EC8Bs are the ward collation, EC8Cs are the local government's collation, EC8D is the state result.
So it's important for our conversation that you understand these forms, as they will provide a very good understanding into the findings of Athena Center. So these are the methodologies that you use. Let's find out. The state at the
state, this is just a snapshot. 18 local government, 192 wards, 451, 4,519 polling units, and 2.6 million registered voters.
All right. So now, from there, we saw
the INEC announced results.
This result as it was pronounced
291,000 for APC, 242,000 for PDP, and 22,000 for Labour. This is as announced by INEC.
And of course, the man that was declared winner there, the governor of Edo State, Monday Okpebholo, of the APC, who was said to have polled 291,667 votes. Well, so what are the data that we have? What do we know?
So let's start here. So from the IREF, we downloaded 4,466 polling units. Of these, 4,410 were valid. 109 were excluded because 53 polling units were not uploaded to IREF, 36 PUs were cancelled, and 14 polling units with illegible results. It could not be read. And 4 polling units result with no votes. So there was a result, but there were no votes. And then there is one EC60E, which is the polling unit result that you're supposed to put out at the polling unit. So one of the presiding officers snapped it and uploaded. And then there is a EC25E, only one was uploaded. Now, the 180 words given to us by INEC, 363 PUs were not given. Of the 4156, 164 were excluded. 10 PUs recorded as cancelled, according to INEC. 153 PUs were not accounted for. That is to say, there were no results. And 1 PU was with an illegible result. So we had 4156 polling units from INEC, but we ended up with 3,992 that were valid polling units.
So problem was that INEC didn't have all the results.
363 polling units are missing until today.
And INEC,
and we wrote to the Edo State, wrote to the National, and after that we wrote to the 3 parties asking them, did you get this result? But those results were on the IREF. So, but they were not given to us on the EC8B. So we didn't see the breakdown of what was recorded on the ward collation from the polling units.
So what you got now is the EC8 result, the BVAS result, and you are able to extrapolate and make sense of it. Yeah, based on what you have.
Yes. So those are the 11 wards not given by INEC. 11 wards in Esako West, 284 polling units, and 1 ward from Ikpoboka, which
so
is
people should understand the implication of when we say ward. It means that it's almost like a village or hamlet in some places. In fact, in some places, it's almost a town.
It's a political unit.
Yeah.
It's created by, they have 192 in Edo State. So there are 192 wards which constitute a local government. So the polling units are the base where everybody votes. Then there is a ward. Then it is called the residential area in the INEC lingo.
So the idea right here is these 284, because some people might be wondering, 11 wards and you have 284 polling units. The polling unit is where you go to vote. That place where you have the cubicle and all of that, that is a polling unit. And so you have all of these 284 in the 11 wards.
In Esako West. And then 77 in 1 ward from Ikpoboka.
Yeah. Now, so if you look at this, you said they gave EC8 4G.
40G is the result, that is the form that shows cancelled elections where elections did not hold. So INEC only gave us 6 polling units in the EC 40G, but there were more polling units that were cancelled.
So 3 polling units in Akoko Edo and 3 polling units in Ikpoboka.
Yes.
So that's what you have. Now, let's move forward.
Now, so this is where the problem starts, and this is a serious problem. In the EC8A forms we downloaded from IREF, we accounted for 580,000 accredited voters. Mark that word, 580,000. When INEC gave us the BVAS report that we requested for, we saw 687,427 as the number of accredited voters. Now, if you go to the EC8B, the 180 they gave us, the number of accredited voters there was 541. 541,283. So 323 were missing from this, but they had 541. So if you probably sum it up, it will give you something around 580. Now, in the EC8D, the one the returning officer announced to the world as the result of the election, they had 604 accredited voters. Now, they had 577 used ballot papers. That is not in contention. 577,000 ballot papers were used. But INEC said that the people who saw the voters, the people who accredited, the people who counted the votes and recorded came with 580,000 accredited voters. But the INEC back end gave us 687. When we reviewed it, we saw that there were 794 polling units where INEC had randomly increased the number of votes. Some as much as 1,400 increased the number of votes in those polling units to get to 687. Our suspicion is that the last election, we used the BVAS as the gold standard to check for inconsistency, and you could see the inconsistency. But in this election, by this singular act of INEC, we are not able to now say what went wrong with the election, because the number of accredited voters are 100,000 more than the number of accredited voters that was accounted for at the polling unit.
So now, in essence, the BVAS machine, is supposed to be the detector. It's supposed to be the conscience of the election.
Absolutely.
It means that you use it for accreditation, and you use it for the confirmation and authorization. So you swipe your card reader on it.
Absolutely no way you will have more people accredited than the voters, because once you accredit, you vote. They give
naturally, what should happen is if there are 500 people on the BVAS, and you have 510 ballot paper, you know there's a problem over voting. But in this case now,
they have
the BVAS have been tampered with. Because the results, all the manual results are saying different.
Something less from the BVAS.
So the BVAS is on its own.
This is the yes. And these 794 polling units with inflated BVAS records were predominant in the central and southern senatorial zone. So from Esan North, Ikpoboka, Oredo, Esan Central, Umode, and Akoko Edo, up to Lagos, you will see a high number of BVAS accreditation is the brown one. It is much higher than the EC8A accreditation, EC8B accreditation.
Which is an anomaly.
big anomaly. And this is for me the most egregious act of the INEC, because the fundamental principle of the election is that the accreditation by the beavers is supposed to be sacrosanct, is supposed to be the determinant of what happened. Now, the INEC back-end server is saying that the people who saw the voters, the people who accredited them, did not record it correctly.
So
that we are the ones who
let me allow you
correctly.
to explain better to Nigerians. So EC8A is the result sheet that you saw that the INEC from the polling
that was
unit,
uploaded
when the result was announced, when you were hearing APC, PDP, Labour Party, and at the end of the day they said 1,200 people came to this polling unit, these people voted this party, these people voted this party. It means that most of the results that you saw on the EC8A are way lower, which is supposed to tell you exactly the number of people, and those results were the result posted
so this is
on the polling unit wall.
Here is that the polling units, the 794 polling units, this is it here. The EC8A recorded 81,000, EC8B recorded 112,000, EC8, the beavers recorded 223,000.
That's about double
of those
of the
794 polling units.
Yeah.
Yes. Despite that inflation, we still went through all the polling units and we still saw overvoting, because they did it in 794 polling units. So there was about 2,000 plus polling units where they didn't increase the beavers. So here again, we saw overvoting in Ipoboha, in Esako East, in Akoko Edo, Esako West, and Ovia North local government and Ego. So it was rampant across the state, but it was highest in the central and the south, and some of the northern local government. So party votes distribution of the inflation we saw, APC got 24,000 votes, LP got 1,254, and PDP got 14,000 votes. That is of these polling units where the
discrepancies have been noticed
between the beavers and the EC8A accreditation.
EC8B, yeah.
This one is where the EC8A is higher than the beavers accreditation. Then we saw that despite that error, 140 PUs, 75% of the 186 polling units with overvoting were transferred to Form EC8B. So what it meant is that when the results came to the ward collation, the ward collation officer ought to have looked at the beavers physically, confirmed the number on it, and then enter the results. But they didn't do that. They transferred this overvoting to the EC8B. So again, we have beavers accreditation at 17,000, EC8B at 25,000, total vote cast at 25,084. So, and of that, APC got 14,000, LP 1,003, and PDP 7,926.
In that discrepancy.
Now, we observed that 32,000 votes over what was recorded in Form EC8A for APC in 328 polling units were added. We also observed a reduction in the PDP votes in 227 of that 228 polling units. So now, 328 polling units where APC votes were inflated. So in Oredo, in Akoko Edo, in Ego, in Ipoboha, and in Esan North. Now, you come here, PDP votes were reduced in these places, Oredo, Akoko Edo, Esan North, and Ipoboha. So if you look at this, what I call the flashpoint, APC votes were inflated by 44,917. In EC8B, that's what it became. In EC8A, they had 12,633. Now, in EC8B, in these 328 polling units, they rose to 44,917. PDP votes were 15,732 in EC8A. They reduced it to 6,795 in EC8B.
But the trend and the pattern is showing that there is an advantage to the APC votes.
Yes.
And there is a disadvantage to the
PDP.
PDP more.
Units,
Labour Party,
yes.
Labour Party has less of the impact, but PDP has more
PDP
of the
was
impact.
Reduced. So this is what we saw in 328 polling units. There was discrepancy between EC8A and what happened in EC8B. So now, we observed that in addition, there was an addition of 2,285 votes over what was recorded in EC8A for PDP in 93 polling units. PDP got 2,285 votes additional. in 93 polling units. We also observed a reduction of APC votes in 15 of the 93 polling units. So if PDP was strong here, what we saw was that APC votes were 3,015. It was reduced to 1,185. PDP votes were 3,613. It was increased to 5,890.
So this was the benefit of the PDP here.
This to the benefit of PDP.
APC lost about 2,000
votes. Yes.
Yeah.
2,000 votes over what was recorded was now added for PDP.
Perhaps
in this
to the advantage of the PDP.
Yes.
Yeah.
In 93 polling units. Yes, we saw that. Then we observed the addition of 6,000 votes over what was recorded in Form EC8A for Labour Party in 290 polling units. So Labour Party scored 827 votes in those polling units. Then we saw 6,974 recorded for them. So if you look at it, APC votes trend in LP inflated areas. APC had 18,555 and their votes rose to 38,775. So we suspect they may have added some vote for LP to hide what was going on.
Or Labour Party had added vote to itself.
Well,
whichever the case may
be. But it just happened that it was still in the same polling units where APC votes rose that we saw this Labour discrepancy. So I think that based on our last analysis, there was an effort to hide what was happening by destroying evidence. So INEC went ahead and damaged the beavers and then went into the votes and just scattered votes across the places. So you never really could see what happened in the electoral office. But, you know, our system is far more intelligent than that. It was able to pick some of these things up.
Now, in all of this, you are saying vote inflation at the World Collation Center have highlighted vulnerabilities in the collation process and opportunities for electoral malpractice. Now, you said you've discovered a reduction of a total of 4,740 votes for APC in 106 polling in the World Collation.
Yes.
That is
after they added 36,000, then there was a reduction in 4,740. So net value, they got about 28,000 net votes added to them.
This is what this has shown us.
This is what this has shown us now. Now, vote reduction at World Collation, we observed 11,665 votes, PDP votes in 325 polling units were reduced. So PDP lost from 23,000 to 11,000 vote reduction in 325 polling units. So we thought that that action in the World Collation of tampering with results, what we are showing here is that, you know, this election did not just happen. It was faced with serious misdemeanor by the election managers.
And it looks to me that most of the work was done at the ward level.
At the ward level. It was done at the World Collation level. Now, these are samples of, you know, what we saw. So, if you look at this discrepancy between IREV EC8A and CTC EC8A, I will be disappointed if the judiciary in Nigeria does not say something about the fact that the CTC given by INEC was not the same thing as the IREV result that was uploaded. This happened across the local government. Now, we just put some examples here just to show you what it looks like. This is a CTC stamped by INEC, and it was totally different from the CTC.
So let's break it down.
In the
CTC is a certified true copy.
Certified true copy.
Which is legally acceptable, and this is the process of which you can lay your evidence in court to make that those results are acceptable and tenable in court. Compared to the one that was uploaded on the IREV. So there are differences. There are discrepancies. And what it showed also was that there are overvoting, isn't it?
Overvoting. So we saw that from the INEC received. We got this from INEC. So
there are different results at different levels.
And different levels. So we saw the differences. We are going to put all of this on our website. So some of them we got from other third parties, and some from our own review with the EC8B. We saw the vote reductions. So these are the results from EC8A, and this is in EC8B where the votes were reduced. So
vote
we pointed
reduction,
out
vote inflation, overvoting,
and discrepancies. This is the most egregious of the discrepancies. It is in the same standard with what happened to the beavers. For the beavers to say that they have 674,000 against 580 is a major destruction of the trust of Nigerians in the electoral process. So this one is another egregious behavior. The resident electoral officer, the people who worked in Edo State, who gave certified true copies of results that were different from what they uploaded to the IREF, I mean, it's totally egregious.
So yeah.
So yes.
So this was the final.
So this is our verdict, right? The result of the Edo election cannot be deemed credible because he failed to meet our basic integrity standards due to substantial interference in the electoral process by the umpire.
This interference, you are linking it to INEC.
INEC.
INEC at what level?
Evidence of systemic rigging observed in this election is so substantial that we cannot call the result. Because if we do the maths, I mean, if we bring out all the polling units that have no issues, and we deduct the 36,000 we gave, APC got 32,000, and the reduction in PDP and give it, PDP slightly has an edge in the election. But we cannot call it because the election fundamentally is faulty. The evidence of systemic rigging is so substantial that we think that this election should not be allowed to stand. If this stands, then there is no election in 2027.
So I'm asking this question so that we can point the fingers to whom is to blame.
Yes.
Now, in this case, we need to identify those to blame.
Yes.
This interference, at what level of INEC do you think this would have come?
The back-end tampering with the bimodal voter accreditation system, the BVAS, is done at the national.
So there was a back-end
tampering, yes, that added votes in 794
so BVAS can be remotely manipulated.
That's what they're telling us now. And it must be by the managers of the election. It can't be by an external person. But this was the certified true copy, stamped, signed by INEC, that they gave us.
Or the other way is that, and I'm thinking for someone who understands a bit of the technology of that device, possibility that there are preloaded results before the election even happened. Because
I don't know how
the BVAS, I mean, I'm just trying
this
to...
This is the back-end report. This is not the BVAS.
Okay.
This is the back-end report that somebody printed out.
Okay.
And gave you.
Not the
physical machine. Because the physical machines ought to have been inspected by the ward collation officers. And I believe some of them did. Which is why the result of the accreditation did not change between the EC8A and EC8B.
So this is what happened with the BVAS. This is how it works.
Yes.
The BVAS is like a telephone. You capture all of the data because it has every BVAS for every polling unit has all the records and the registration and the register of everybody in the polling unit.
Yes.
And after all the process, you as an official, you are supposed to upload and send.
Yes.
Now, that's why I'm saying that whatever that was sent from the BVAS that was seen at the back end that was printed may have been preloaded, or because I don't understand.
No, it couldn't have been, because at the point when they were recording what was on the BVAS, they recorded what they
saw.
Yes, what they saw.
Okay, so I see what you mean.
What was happened at the back end.
At the back end.
Yes, that's what happened.
So we need to be finding out
who tampered with the back end.
Was it being done in Benin City or Abuja?
It was done in Abuja. Where is the clear disparities between from EC8A uploaded to IREF and INEC certified true copies? This is something to be thoroughly investigated. It is criminal. Whoever tampered with it should be held. Instances of electoral malpractices carried out by presiding and collation officers were rampant, very rampant.